dawn, packs a lunch and a thermos full of coffee. It's another day in the dusty haze. Those burning rays are wearing down his body. And diesel's worth the price of gold. It's the cheapest grain he's ever sold, but he's still holding on.
So I think there's several that are potentially a problem. One is the idea that genetic material can get outside the crops we want to grow. So, for example, Roundup Ready is very common. Is a very common modification. The difficulty, if that information gets into wheat crops, then Roundup doesn't work any well. We've seen some instances of pests becoming resistant to BT as a result of being selected by BT crops. So the crops make the toxin, the bugs eat it, most of the bugs die. The ones that don't become resistant, they reproduce, make more resistant bugs, and before too long, BT is less useful as well as the original. So that kind of monoculture can be a real problem.
He just takes the tractor another round and pulls a plow.
Well, I think the idea is what you would like to do is use it to benefit somebody other than a seed company or somebody in addition to a seed company. So, for example, you would like to see an environmental advantage, for example, from a modified crop that needs less water so was able to grow in drought, or a crop that put in a nutritional advantage that the parent crop didn't have. So, for example, the idea of the golden rice that would make vitamin A and potentially prevent blindness and other problems in the people who eat it. So that's one thing you can do. The downside of that, and everything has an upside and a downside. The downside is you can get all the vitamin A you need from eating vegetables. And so there's no reason to go into a totally monotonous diet. It's probably far better to have a system whereby farmers can, and we're talking third world farmers here, developing nations farmers, where they actually are able to grow crops, get a reasonable return on their labor, and then use and also have the capacity to grow things like vegetables and other required crops that are the sources of required nutrients.
That hailstorm back in '83 sure did take a toll on his family. He stayed strong and carried on, just like his dad and granddad did before him. On his knees every night he prays, please let my crops.
Well, we face a number of real critical issues in the future, and the key one is that fact that we are growing as a people. We're really taking up the resources that are available for crop production, and in fact some of the resources for crop production are decreasing. The arable land is decreasing, so we have to do something major, a major paradigm change that will give us the productivity we need to essentially double our food production in the near term. And one of the only ways I can see that happening, or one of the very few ways that could happen, is major changes in the behaviors of our crop plants and the productivity of our crop plants and their capability to withstand stresses due to high productivity, and stresses due to things like drought and changing climate. For instance, I think we're going to see in the near term, in the next couple of years, some new genetically modified varieties that have drought tolerance. And these are really critical properties or characteristics that could really enhance our ability on marginal areas, and these are those areas that may be going out of production or are not too profitable to produce on. But we need to produce more on the acres that are available, and drought tolerant traits could really